What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zoe Nodays off DFS here to bring you guys that DFS breakdown for the 8-game slate we got today. Another new week. We are back to go ahead and break down these NBA games. If you guys are new here, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the content I drop over here on the channel, and drop a like on this video if this video or any of my other videos help you guys win some money. Now, before I can even get into a breakdown, you guys already know I like to talk. I like to go over a couple of things, and one of them, man, we got to talk about that OKC Thunder. Not only do I want to talk about the OKC Thunder and the crazy beatdown that they were able to put on the Boston Celtics, just the defense alone in that second half of the game, after having what I arguably could say was a very good, tough stretch for us over these last several games. But looking at, you have two of the best teams in the league playing a matinee game on this Sunday. I understand NFL, end of the season, so on and so forth, all that other good jazz is going on, but to not have that game be broadcast on any network that you could actually watch it, and you wonder why. You guys are groveling, complaining, talking about viewership, all this, that, and third, but you don't put these games for the public to be able to even see. I had to stream it. I had to find it for me to be able to even watch it, of course, because I'm not in the same area or whatever to be able to watch those games. And not even just that right there, but the game they played against the Knicks, another great team in the East. We couldn't even watch that one. Instead, what was the actual televised game? I don't even think any of these games were truly televised for us on Friday either, which just doesn't make any sense. And the NBA is just really raveling like, what's going on with our viewership? You're not broadcasting the good games. You're not broadcasting the games that actually matter for us to actually be able to see. On top of that, you had Wemby going against the Joker, back-to-back games. Unless you were in San Antonio or you live in freaking Denver, you couldn't even see those games, which it was a good matchup. How do you not give us these games, these matchups, those things that would actually help promote the league? You're not giving it enough. You're not doing enough to promote this stuff right here for us to actually see. Instead, you got to go back and go watch some YouTube highlights or something like that, or pay for NBA League Pass or whatever to be able to go back and watch the game after it's done. Because even League Pass has its faults and stuff like that, because certain zones and stuff that you live in, you can't even access certain games, which doesn't make any sense to me. If I'm paying for League Pass, I should be able to see everything. I should be able to see behind the scenes, warm up, all that good stuff. Every single thing, I should be able to see that with the League Pass, stuff like that. But of course, talk about my Thunder. That was a crazy win that we had, not only going up against the Knicks, but also going up against the Boston Celtics. I called it. I said that we were going to probably, our win streak was going to get snapped by Boston, just because of how dominant Boston has played, just how dominant they've looked. Everything to me pointed that Boston was going to be able to come up there and win that game. Now, that's not saying that I don't have any faith in my team, this, that, and third. I got faith in them, but when you just look at the matchup, you look at everything right there, just how Boston plays, the double-headed monster in Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, of course, in the guards that you have with Derek White, Drew Holiday, and you have KP back. Wasn't too sure if we'd be able to match up with that, not without Chet, not with especially if Dub had a horrible shooting night. But honestly, Shea again put on another MVP performance. Not only on the offensive side, defensive side. They threw whatever they could throw at him. He was still able to go ahead and get that mid-range shot, get over there, get into the paint, get to the foul line, and then just knocking down some timely threes. This Thunder team honestly has just grown up in front of my eyes, and it's beautiful. It's amazing to watch. It's great to see, and the league has a front runner to be a dynasty. If they can keep the core of those young guys that we have over there together for a very long time, it's going to be scary. And the big thing that is, I guess, special about what they're doing right now, this isn't even the final form of the Thunder. We still haven't played with Chet, with all of our guys. And that game that they won last night was without Alex Caruso, without Chet, and without our rookie, AJ Mitchell, who's been playing significant minutes and been a great contributor that we have right there. That's going to be scary when we actually have a full, complete, healthy squad to actually come out here and play. But all right, enough stroking the Thunder. So going on over, looking at the injury report for today, Portland taking on Detroit. Ayton game time decision expected fully played. Grant is still going to be out. Detroit, Amen Thompson just popped up on the injury report for illness, and since that's a late day ad, I would probably suspect that he would be out. But injury news has not gone my way over the last couple times whenever I've projected for players to be out or in. So just wait close up to lock. We will have that news before lock. For the Phoenix Suns, the biggest thing for them is that they made a huge jump in their starting lineup. They are now starting rookie Ryan Dunn and Mason Plumlee over Nurk and Bradley Beal. They're making Beal come off the bench, which, I mean, you could arguably kind of say Beal kind of did need to come off the bench, especially when you already have two players that need the ball in the hand, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. not really room right there for Beal. For the for 76ers, Kelly Oubre Jr. game time decision, has missed like the last 3 games, so possible for him to be back or out. If he's out and Kyle Lowry's out, definitely would be a shakeup in regards to the lineup right there. Joel Embiid, game time decision for him to play. Let's see if 76ers play tomorrow. All right, so the 76ers are not on the front end of a back-to-back or anything like that, so I would honestly expect for Joel Embiid to play in this game today, right there. Indy taking on Brooklyn. Nesmith is out for the Brooklyn Nets. D'Angelo Russell, he's a game time decision. Ben Simmons, game time decision. For the Nets, do they play tomorrow? We know that they normally keep Ben Simmons out of back-to-backs and things like that. Nope, they are not playing tomorrow, so that should be honestly good to go. Not too sure what's going on with D'Lo, but we'll look more into that. For Orlando, Anthony Black, game time decision. Looks like they just lost Suggs as well. They are on the back end of a back-to-back. Suggs doubtful to play. Paolo doubtful. Franz doubtful. Hopefully Black is back. If Black is not, then we'll see Cole Anthony slide into the starting lineup, and that'll be another value piece that we can get right there. For New York Knicks, they are not on the front end of a back-to-back, which is good. Brunson expected to play. Karl-Anthony Towns deals with a knee. Up in the air, but I do expect for Towns to play. But if they do decide to keep him out, then of course Precious Achiuwa and everyone in the starting lineup will get a boost right there. For Milwaukee Bucks, Chris Middleton expected to play. Giannis expected to play. Andre Jackson, even though he just got back, looks like he's a game time decision. Toronto Raptors, same thing for RJ Barrett. I know he misses last game with the illness, if I'm not mistaken, so hopefully he's actually back and able to play today. For San Antonio Spurs taking on Chicago, no news to report really for either one of these sides. For Los Angeles Clippers, currently right now, they do not have Kawhi Leonard listed as out, game time decision or anything. Kawhi Leonard is back for the Clippers. He played 19 minutes yesterday. I would fully expect Kawhi to miss today. So currently right now, there is no news out of the Clippers camp, but I would not expect Kawhi, who just missed majority of the season, to come back and already play a back-to-back. Would not expect that. If he does play, I would be floored if they play that man more than 10 minutes with the way his knees work. For the Minnesota Timber Pups, Luke Garza, Milton, game time decisions. Not worried about them. They're not main guys. For Dallas, Luka Doncic is still out. Kyrie is already listed as out. For the Memphis Grizzlies, Desmond Bane, doubtful to play. Gigi Jackson out. Luke Kennard's out. Jaws out. Smart's out. Vince Williams out. They're just dealing with a whole bunch of injuries, but they still go out here and they still win games, and they still are playing pretty good. 10 p.m. game, not going to worry about that just because it's not on the main slate, so we don't have to worry about that at all. Heading on over to DraftKings, the site to play the most on the site. If you guys don't got an account, you want one, make sure you guys check the link down in the description below so you guys get that deposit match bonus, and join your boy over here on the King. All right, so first game we got Portland taking on Detroit. Cade Cunningham, 9,700. Definitely do feel like that is a price that I wouldn't mind paying for Cade, just the way that he's been playing over his last several games. And we do know opposing point guards going up against Portland. Not a bad matchup, especially one that has the size that Cade does have. Coming off of a really good game where he just dropped 63 fantasy points in that last game out, going up against the Minnesota Timber Pups with 40 real-life points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds. We already know he's the hub. No Jaden Ivey, so of course the scoring load and stuff is going to be on him. It's going to be on Tobias Harris and maybe the sprinkle of what we can get from Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, and everyone else is that supporting cast right there. But Cade definitely does make an argument for a stud that we can go ahead and pay up for, and I do see myself trying to get there. Outside of Cade, of course, like I said, Tim Hardaway Jr., that'd definitely be another one that we want to look to, especially just for the price tag, 4,200. Decent minutes for him over his last couple games, 34, 33 minutes, but the production just hasn't been there quite so yet. If he's actually able to start knock down these 3-point shots, it definitely would be a huge upside, especially get a 4,200 player that is getting the minutes that he's getting. Now, outside of that, I will say that for his price, 5,400. I started touting this dude. I promise you he's probably going to go back to just being dust busted, can't be trusted. Tobias Harris, 5,400. I like the upside. 36, 49 fantasy points in back-to-back games that he's played without Ivy. The upside is there. He's getting more shot attempts, as we can see, 16, 13 shot attempts, taking a couple more threes, but also being very active in the rebound department, a little bit of playmaking, things like that. As long as he goes out here and he plays his game, 5,400, definitely do see that would be a price I wouldn't mind getting to. I do see the upside for him here in the matchup. Outside of that, I could say opposing centers, they've actually done pretty well going up against DeAndre Ayton. And if Duren stays himself out of foul trouble, which is a big thing for him, staying out of foul trouble, because we know he is a very good fantasy point per minute player when he's actually out there on the court. If he can keep himself out of foul trouble, this is definitely a spot where I can see Ayton being able to go out there and smash. The last time that he played Portland, which of course was last year, he did drop 62 fantasy points versus them. So the upside definitely would be there for him if he keeps himself out of foul trouble. That's the biggest thing for him. Now over there on the Portland side, I'll say I do have interest in Anthony Simons, but Opposing point guards, they've actually kind of been somewhat held in check a little bit versus the Pistons. So 6,400 definitely would take a stab at them. I will say I rather would come down to Shaedon Sharpe, who we have seen opposing twos who can shoot, have had really good games going up against them. Needless to say, Anthony Edwards just dropped 60 plus fantasy points going up against these guys with 40 or 50 plus actual real life points. Not going to say that's what Shaedon Sharpe can come out here and do, but the dude does take a good chunk of threes, very athletic, can definitely get himself to the rim. Also showing that he can actually play, make, get some rebounds, and play a little bit of defense. 5,400, I definitely would rather take a stab at him over playing Anthony Simons if that was the case and what it comes down to. And then, unfortunately, can't even believe I'm going to even recommend this dude. But Ayton, if you think Ayton decides he wants to actually come out here and play, definitely will look to Ayton, but I would rather get up to 300 more to Denny Avdia, who looks like he's the Swiss Army knife and doing everything over here for them. The rebounding, the scoring, also playmaking, and playing some really solid defense. As you can see, 48 and 40 fantasy points in back-to-back games, at least 30 plus fantasy points in 4 out of the last 5 games. So the upside definitely would be there for Denny Avdia if I was to look anywhere over there. For the Phoenix Suns taking on the Phoenix Suns taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Of course, we do need to know if Kelly Oubre Jr. is going to be in the starting lineup or not, but I will say Mason Plumlee, Nurk, whoever the heck they decide to start, I don't feel like they would be a match for aggressive Joel Embiid. And I say aggressive just because watching Joel play, you can see he's not in shape. But he still is a dominant force down there in the paint. Of course, he can still stretch the floor, and his favorite thing, he can get to the free throw line. I do think that Plumlee should struggle, honestly, in this matchup trying to guard Joel. We know he can bait himself in some ticky-tacky fouls, things like that nature. 9,600, like the price tag, it's not bad. We're so used to paying 10K plus for Embiid. A solid matchup for him. Nonetheless, long as he actually will be in line, no limitations or anything like that. Miles Turner just dropped 38 fantasy points going up against these guys. Jaren Jackson Jr., when he had to play the center spot going up against them, dropped 66 fantasy points. So the upside is definitely there for a player like Joel Embiid to go ahead and have a very solid and a great game. Now, outside of JoJo, I will say a lot more interest for me over here on the Phoenix side, because with the full roster of the 76ers, I really don't have too much interest in Paul George, Tyrese Maxey. Both those guys, not too bad of spots for them, but I don't see value in their prices or anything like that. I will say KD, if I want to take a run back, maybe stack my studs in this game, but not really looking to do that here in this spot. KD been playing very well, and of course now with Nurk going to the bench, I do see maybe a couple more rebounds going his way. The playmaking, we know that he can dish the rock and do things like that of that nature. I do like the upside for KD at 9,300. Don't mind going there at all. And then of course, outside of that, I will say Devin Booker, no Beal in the starting lineup. Either one of these guys should be able to definitely get their shots up, do a couple more playmaking, things like that, play off each other. They're already used to playing with each other without Bradley Beal there anyway. So the upside could be there. 8.8 for Book is definitely a cheaper price tag than what I'm used to paying for D-Book in this day and age. And then I will have to take a stab at that kid Ryan Dunn just because he's starting. Hopefully this isn't one of those, okay, hey, you're going to start, you're going to play maybe 15 minutes. Hopefully we see the 30 plus minutes that he has been playing, and he's been producing in that time. 4,100, definitely a really good value spot for us to go ahead and get a piece from this game, especially if you are just trying to get a run back to go with Joel Embiid. Going over here to Indy, taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Shin listed question for Monday's game. Forced Saturday's loss. Shin contusion. All right, so he bumped to Shin. If D'Lo's good to go, D'Lo definitely 5,500. I'll take him. Fast-paced game. We know D'Lo loves fast. Fast-paced game going against Pacers. They get up and down the court. This game definitely will be pretty much back and forth. I know the Nets, they do play at a little bit of a slower pace, so they will try to slow it down. But with D'Lo being out there, love the upside for if he actually is on the court. If he's not, then Ben Simmons, his minutes and everything that he does will be secure. So I would rather have more interest in Ben if D'Lo is out. If D'Lo's in, I have no interest in Ben. I would rather go ahead and take D'Lo whenever it comes down to it between the two. Now, outside of that, I will say over here on the Indy side, a lot of interest actually for Mathurin. This could be one of those matches where I see him being able to excel and definitely be able to pop off, especially if he can get a shot to fall. Finally had a bounce back game going up against the Suns, 33.5 fantasy points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 13 points. I know he can do more definitely on the scoring department, but decent price tag at 5,800. Sandwich between Ben Simmons and D'Angelo Russell. The upside definitely could be there for him. And then oddly enough, I gotta go back to my boy Nick Claxton. Surprisingly, he's getting minutes whenever he's not in foul trouble or the game actually decides that he needs to play. And the upside's been there for him. It's like they're looking for him on shots. I'm not too sure if it's the addition of D'Lo has definitely helped him a little bit whenever he's out there. I know, I want to say it was this Milwaukee game. He was definitely a factor in regards to having D'Lo out there. But Claxton, oddly enough, the defense is there. The aggressiveness, everything he's playing with, I like it. 6,200 definitely could be a low-owned play. Not a main staple that I feel like I have to get to, but something that just interests me. What else interests me is the fact that Pascal Siakam is 6,900. He was just 7'2". Why the hell did he drop all the way down to 6,900? The dude's putting up at least 30 fantasy points consistently. We know he can play make. We know if he needs to actually go out there and score, if the game stays close enough, he definitely can score. He can facilitate. He can play some defense. Why did the price drop so? That's a very strange to me that his price dropped like that. Now, I will say opposing power forwards with his length, with his size, they definitely have been able to go out here and have decent games. Giannis dropped 61 fantasy points. Scotty Barnes, 64. Sochan dropped 37. Bobby Portis dropped 36. John Collins, 30. Player of Siakam's caliber, 6,900. That's just weird to me. Outside of that, of course, you can look at Halliburton. Not a bad spot. Price for him, I definitely could see myself maybe getting there. And then if they're going to constantly go ahead and start that kid, Jalen Wilson, 4,500. Another player that's in the starting lineup. The minutes are there. The upside could definitely be there. He's really just not knocking down a shot. Taking a bunch of threes, clanking it. Definitely something I could take a look at. Game blows out. He should still be out there and playing the minutes and run. So wouldn't mind looking towards that at all. Milwaukee taking on Toronto. Interesting game right here. RJ Barrett is looking like all signs important to him actually being back. 9,200. Honestly, coming off of the illness, missed the last 3 games. I'm not going to look there. Go towards him. I will, of course, say Giannis is Giannis. I don't have to talk or go too deep into that right there. I will say, though, Giannis going up against the Toronto Raptors has been interesting. When he played him earlier this season, 33 minutes, only dropped 44 fantasy points. Last season, he played 28 minutes, only dropped 28 or 24 fantasy points versus them. You got to go all the way back to 2022 was the last time that he dropped 60 plus fantasy points going up against them. So not too sure if you want to take that with a grain of salt. Look into it a little bit deeper, but Giannis still premier stud player that you definitely could look to. But when I got Wemby on the slate playing against the Chicago Bulls, I think I'd rather take Wemby. Now, outside of that, with RJ being back, we're finally going to have the full lineup of Quickly, Grady Dick, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, and Jakob. That'll be the full starting lineup over here for the Toronto Raptors. Starting lineup that they haven't had literally for the majority of the season. Outside of that, everybody to me is in play on the Raptors starting unit except for RJ Barrett just because he has come back from that illness. Jakob, don't mind him. The upside could definitely be there. Kind of need his size going up against Brook Lopez and Giannis. He keeps himself out of foul trouble. Definitely is going to be the key to that. I will say he's the more risky one out of them. I will continue to attack the Bucks with opposing guards. Quick and Grady Dick. I'll look to both of those guys. Like the upside that they actually can bring. Definitely can knock down some shots. And the fact that Quickly handles the ball, play makes, and things like that. And then, of course, we know he's a very lethal three-point shooter. The upside is definitely there for him and what he can do. Then I will say Scotty Barnes. The price is a bit much, 9,500. Would rather go ahead and just play my boy Cade Cunningham if I am going to go all the way up there to that. But definitely would make for a decent GVP option, especially if you're looking to stack this game or something like that. I could see that. But outside of that, not going to force too much over here on that. If I am not taking Giannis, don't mind coming right down to Chris Middleton, 6,200. Looks like his minutes, they are slowly ticking up. This game should be close. Playing in Toronto, full starting lineup for Toronto. Pretty close spread right now as is. So definitely could see the upside there for taking Chris Middleton in what should be a close game. Orlando taking on the New York Knickerbockers. This game, really, I don't have too much interest. If Towns misses, I do like Jalen Brunson. Of course, you can look towards Josh Hart, especially if Towns misses. Those rebounds, the upside, and the playmaking, everything Josh Hart does, that'll be there. We already know Tibbs. He's going to play his guys at least 40 minutes. So, honestly, beating a dead horse at this point. Over there on the Orlando side, if Anthony Black is out, then we already know that we will be looking towards Cole Anthony. The upside should be there for him, especially because they're going to be very thin at their guard position. Like I said, last time Tristan De Silva was on a slate, I want to say it was when he played going up against Toronto. I said it, if he's actually able to knock down the shots, he has a really good game. 39-point fantasy point game going up against them in 37 minutes. And lo and behold, he knocked down a shot. GPP option for me, 4,100. Can't go wrong, really, honestly, going there, especially if they are still missing players that honestly contribute to what they even actually do out there, upside can be there for him. Going on over to what I arguably think could possibly be a good game right here. The upside is definitely there. Of course, we know Chicago, we've constantly just attacked them all season in regards to their lackluster defense, and that should be no different here with our boy Victor Wembanyama going up against Vooch, who this should be just Wemby versus Giannis. I'm taking Wemby. And of course, I'm touting Wemby. Last time I touted Wemby, he went out there and I want to say what he had like 40 or 30. Yeah, it was that 45.75 fantasy point game he dropped going against Brooklyn Nets. Please don't do that to me here again, Wemby. I am all over Wemby today. I love the upside. The matchup is there. The rebounding upside is there. The block shots, all that stuff should be there for Wemby. The pace, everything. 11-11. Love going right back to him. We'll be going right back to Wemby here in the spot. Outside of that, I will say on the flip side of that, opposing centers, they've actually been able to go out here and have decent games themselves. Vooch, the big guy himself, over 35 fantasy points in every single game that he's out of his last 5 games. And don't think that he played going against Wemby. Well, they did play earlier this season. In 35 minutes, he did drop 58 fantasy points in that game versus them. So that was without Wemby, though. So take that one with a grain of salt as well. Now, if you're not trying to play Wemby, I do think there are some stacking factors that we can take over here. That would be Devin Vassell, Chris Paul, Sochan, all 3 of these guys, their value right there if you're not going to be able to get up to Wemby. As long as they keep this game close, this should be one of those games that Sochan should be able to excel in with turnovers, rebounding, also getting to the rim, scoring, everything. 5,900, really cheap price tag for a player that we know has 35 plus fantasy point upside for him. But again, main target for me is going to be Victor Wembanyama over here on that. Now, if you are trying to stack this game and you're trying to figure out something running back from the Bulls, you don't want to mess with Vooch. Definitely could see Zach LaVine or Kobe White, either one of those guys. But Zach LaVine, if he's on scoring wise, it'll be a good game. And I do like going to that right there for Zach if I was to take anything over there on that side. Dallas taking on Memphis. This game is interesting just because of all the injuries and everything that we have going on for both of these teams. You got key players missing over there for Dallas with Luka, Kyrie. Same thing over there on Memphis. If Desmond Bane doesn't play, then and Jaw's already out. You got JJJ having to absorb all of that usage over there for them. Key contributors, Scottie Pippen Jr., he's going to definitely be in play, and the upside could be there for him. Wells as well, Zach Edey, even though I do think it's going to be a little bit of a tougher matchup for Zach Edey here in this spot. But we do know the kid does have 50 fantasy point ceiling in regards to what he can go out there and do if the matchup is right. Keep himself out of foul trouble, definitely active on the boards and things like that. The putbacks, it all could be there for him. And going up a team in Dallas that does play pretty big with Lively and Gafford, he should be needed on the floor. 5,400, not the best spot to me when I first look at everything numbers wise and whatnot, but we have seen opposing centers, they've done pretty well going up against Dallas. We just saw Şengün drop 44 fantasy points, Sabonis drop 50, Ayton drop 52, Rudy Gobert drop 33, Zubac drop 40. So it's there for Zach Edey if I wanted to go ahead and take him. I will say if Bane is out, I'm going to have maybe a sprinkle of something from Memphis, whether it be Scottie Pippen Jr., Jaren Jackson Jr. I know the price is a bit much for him, 9,100. That's a lot. I would rather probably get to some of these value pieces in Scottie and Zach and Jalen Wells, things like that. Over there on the Dallas side, again, no Kyrie, no Luka. You guys already know. Spencer Dinwiddie, got to look towards him. Opposing point guard, he's going to have all the uses, the minutes, the balls in his hand, things like that. That Cleveland game, that just wasn't it for him. Same thing going up against Houston. 2 tough defenses that he faced right there. Memphis, they are still a very good defensive team, but missing all their players and stuff like that, I don't mind jumping back onto the Spencer Dinwiddie wagon, 6,500. Now, I will say instead, same price as PJ Washington, who to me has a better spot, better matchup at that 4 position going up against these bigs and stuff over here. And the last time that he played them earlier this season, played 38 minutes, dropped 44 fantasy points. I will go right back to that right there, especially considering that looking at opposing forwards. If PJ Washington actually can just knock down that 3-point shot, stays active out there defensively, and scores some rebounds. Kevin Durant dropped 57 fantasy points. Jalen Williams, 45. Trey Murphy Jr., 48. RJ Barrett, 54. Jalen Johnson, 43. The upside is there at that forward position if his shot is falling. His shot has to fall in order for him to have that type of upside. I'm going to be very, very honest. It has to fall for that upside to be there. So very much a GPP play. Los Angeles Clippers taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. This one right here, Not too much interest, honestly, in this late night game. Really, the huge interest for me in the late night games for us here, this 8 p.m. window, is going to be that Chicago Bulls and the San Antonio Spurs. That's where all of my interest is going to come from. I got to know if Kawhi Leonard is going to be in or out, because if Kawhi's out, then I'll have interest in Harden, then I'll have interest in Norman Powell, things like that. But if Kawhi's back, still just shaking it out, not really going to look there towards any of these guys over here. I fully expect for Kawhi to miss today. I don't see any reason for him to play. Now over here on the Timberpup side, they're reeling. They got to get some wins and stuff. Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, and sadly, Rudy Gobert. All three of these guys would be in contention to play, would be the main guys I would look to. Can definitely maybe take a sprinkle at a Dante DiVincenzo at 5K, but a little bit more than Nas Reed. And I can see this being a matchup where Nas can come out here and knock down some shots. Like the upside GP option, wouldn't mind looking at Nas instead of Dante. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me. Hopefully you guys were able to get a little something from this video. Talk to me down in the comment section. Let me know what is your favorite play for today and the game of the night that you guys are looking at. I got 3 games that I'm going to be making a full lotto parlay every day this week. I'm trying to hit a lotto, trying to hit it. Definitely. Maybe I'll go live or record the process as I go ahead and search. Look at those plays. We'll be putting it up on FanDuel. Definitely check it out over on Twitter. I will post a link up there. So if you guys aren't subbed to that, check the links down the description. You should be able to see the Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Join me on the ride, and good luck to everybody. Peace.